Love podcasts, hate certified paedophiles. It's a PoliticsJOE podcast. You look affronted.
Well,
what?
I didn't know that they were certified. Let's talk about what we were just talking about before we started this.
Which was what?
What's an example of a sweet nut?
When you're out of prison.
Yeah, but I was actually thinking, because we talked. Sorry about that. We were talking about sweet as a nut.
Mm-hmm, the phrase.
But what nuts are sweet?
You know when you go on TikTok and it's like, some people shouldn't have podcasts. This is one of those conversations.
Cool.
Just two guys filming on an iPhone. Like, what nuts are sweet?
Cool.
Eva Santiago.
Hi.
Pleasure to have you here.
All right, should be in The Hague, Ed Campbell.
No, that's my father. I'm Mr. Should be in The Hague. How are you? How was your bank holiday?
Yeah, sweet as a nut.
Now let's explore where that came from. What did you get up to?
What nuts are sweet?
Were you doing lots of post-elections analysis?
I did do.
On the television?
I did a whole Monday, a bank holiday bonanza.
That's what they were calling it.
That's what they were calling
Tune
it.
in now to see Eva Santiago.
On this bonanza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your favourite bit? Actually, you probably can't say that because they might stop booking you for the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, what was...
See, actually, I'd never done it before inside the BBC News studio.
Oh, that's cool.
Like I've
In the newsroom?
always been down the line. You know what I mean? And actually going in the newsroom is really cool because they have a little railway track around the presenter. Yeah, which has like 6 cameras on it.
Oh, that is
like,
cool.
Run on the track, so it like combined my two loves. You know, like broadcast or news and trains.
And trains. I thought you were going to say there was like, I don't like a monorail that they'd wasted the license fee money on or something like that.
Yeah, that's how you actually get to the studio.
The
Monorail.
The newsreader's too lazy to walk 20 metres from their desk.
Yeah.
So they just hop on the license fee monorail.
It's like the jokes about Taylor Swift about how she takes her private plane like to cross the room. Like they get me every time. Them
just flies back and forth. Yeah, shall we crack on with some bloody news?
Can I tell you something about Taylor Swift?
Sure.
This is an observation, and for legal reasons, I don't know if this is true. But
so let's repeat it.
She's wrapped a few buses in London. Like wrapped means that they've like covered the red bus in like an entire advert all the way over, right? It's not just like a little panel. They've wrapped the bus, yeah, like a little present. And on one of the routes that I've seen it on, I've also seen her ex-boyfriend on.
For God's sake.
No, but I really have.
No, as in like if that's I'm sure that is true. As I'm sure.
I'm just saying that
are you
these are two
suggesting
things.
Are you suggesting it's deliberate?
I don't know. I don't know if it's deliberate, but I'm just saying I've seen it on this bus route, and I've also seen her ex-boyfriend on that bus route before. I've seen him on the bus.
What's that pub that people are going to?
The Black Dog.
The Black Dog. Where is the Black Dog?
Vauxhall.
So I was in
Kennington, isn't it? Yeah.
I was in a pub in that area, and this kind of like geezer walked in up to the bar and told the barman, was like, I was in the Black Dog earlier. If I was 40 years younger, I'd be having the time of my life.
Oh my God. Wow.
But then he was like, I don't know, so obviously I'm going to say that's a negative.
Do you think Paul Mescal's going to change his local?
Yeah, because everyone's going to... Actually, no, because everyone's going to goes and tries to shag him there.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No.
all these women are...
No. Is he going to start going to the Black Dog? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, fair. But then... Yeah, I think you'd rather keep your own patch rather than like try and piggyback off someone else's.
Yeah, but what if his patch has dried up? He's seen the same tired, haggard 24-year-olds walking in every week. He's like,
you again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, threesome with triplets? No thanks.
Yeah. You should have seen me the other week.
But then the same guy who was going to clean up in the Black Dog if he was 40 years younger said, he was like, oh, my niece is a big Taylor Swift fan and she's really excited, so I'm going to take her tomorrow. So I thought that was sweet. Weird comment, sweet comment. Yeah.
Or is that kind of like how when I was younger, like a baby, my uncle used to use me to go and get girls?
What did he do?
Like, take me around in the pram or whatever.
Be like, baby.
He'd be like, no, I'll take her. It's all right. I've got her.
It's like it's like putting a dog on your Hinge profile.
Huh?
Like putting a dog on your Hinge profile.
Can we just actually talk about the Hinge thing? Because it's
Hinge thing?
really bothering me. Because actually someone else did it the other day as well.
Oh, people are pretending to be Ava on dating apps.
Yeah, and I matched with someone that Ed knows.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to him, except it wasn't me.
No.
Ed came in and was like,
oh, you match with this person I know.
Yeah.
They'd be like, no, I don't. I
oh,
don't
but
use
that's confusing because I don't seem to have the app.
Yeah, but then they went into like full I will report this mode.
Yeah, they
Like,
did, yeah.
let's get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Which presumably is what he wanted to do the first instance.
We'll get to the bottom. Yeah, that's a sex thing, sure.
Sweet as a nut.
Sweet as a nut. Talking of
Getting to the bottom.
Of how to solve
The Tory
crisis in the
yeah.
election. This is why we get paid to do this.
Yeah.
You can't teach that. That was consummate broadcasting.
Consummate.
Yeah.
I don't want to consummate anything on this.
Different
podcast.
word. That's a different word. First of all, who the fuck's Isaac Levido? And what the fuck is he doing?
I'm so glad you asked me, Ed. I'm so glad you asked me. You might know Isaac Levido from that Sebastian Payne still hasn't got a seat tweet where he tweeted that one time outside the 1922 it was 1922 committee when he went to go and address them, Isaac Levido, Conservative MPs could be here chanting, "Oh, Isaac Levido." Yeah,
It's so weird.
So Isaac Levido is credited with delivering Boris Johnson his stonking majority in 2019, and he's back, brother, and he's back, baby. This Wednesday, he's invited a selection of Tory MPs, a cohort this week, another cohort next week, and he's going to teach them how to win in their constituency.
Excellent. So what's he expected to say? Do we think? What's the tactics?
Is this where we do like a bit?
No, I wasn't actually going to suggest a bit. I feel if we overload them with role play,
Yeah.
it become less special.
Yeah, that's what I feel about doing it outside of someone's birthday.
Oh fuck.
What were we saying? Isaac Levido.
Isaac Levido, the Conservative campaign guru.
So Rishi Sunak was quite pleased with himself on Sunday morning because after his catastrophic loss of council seats up and down the country, his disastrous show at the local elections.
And he also failed his own test. He's like, well, if we keep Ben Houchen and Andy Stewart retain their mayoralties, then I've passed my test. And he failed his test.
50%. So that's what, like a 2-2?
Yeah, he got a 2 or what in school grades? That's like a, don't know.
So it's probably like a number 4 now
D.
or something, whatever that is.
It's an X.5.
I don't know. Laura, did you get graded on through 1 to 9 on GCSEs? No.
Also different education system.
Oh yeah, I forget that you're foreign. She's from Scotland.
So I don't have any GCSEs, and if you also have, it's a good lesson. You can one day end up like me with no GCSEs. Here, all it requires is
to be Scottish.
standard grades and intermediate 2s.
So, Rishi Sunak gave an interview to The Times on Sunday in which he said that we're heading for a hung parliament. And this is, you've got to vote Conservative, essentially, otherwise you're going to deliver an SNP, Labour, Green coalition. And this was very good because he based it off of the local election research that basically translates what happened at a local election. If this was mirrored in a general, this is what would happen. But, it was very good because anyone who's done A-level politics or whatever that intermediate stuff that you did would know that you don't extrapolate from a local election onto a general election because there are a lot of independent candidates who run and people tend to vote on local issues. And so in a general, you would, if you protest voted and say, I don't know, some of us on the team might have voted for an animal rights welfare group.
Not naming names.
Not naming names, but one of us might have done. Would you do that in a general election? Probably
Yes,
not.
absolutely.
Right. Okay.
I'd do it again.
Well, they might have. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the...
Also, as well, it's daft because it doesn't take into account the entire country. As in, not a single part of this analysis of the voting on Thursday takes Scotland into account.
You're right. London wasn't involved either.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is the whole country.
Yeah. So that would obviously have a massive play, particularly in terms of like Labour SNP breakdown. I just quite funny being like, I see all the polling that we've all seen for the past 2 years. Yeah, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one poll which is good for me, which isn't even that good. It still shows us losing. It still shows us not doing well.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we're going to take.
That spin was so violent. If it was a lazy Susan, it would be on the other side of the garden.
Who's writing your jokes? When did you come up with that?
Literally just now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking how nice it would be to have a lazy Susan.
We could just have a Chinese. Like we used to drink beer on this podcast. Now we could just have a full Chinese.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
That'd be actually quite good if we did a mukbang.
I had the filthiest curry on Saturday night. Like,
Sick.
honestly, like I was at my mum's and it was, do you know when you get a curry in and you're like, oh, I want a proper British curry. You know what I mean by that? And then you get it and you're like, that's actually too British.
Yep. You can't move.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's with me.
Dude.
I actually, my fingers were actually stained from the tikka masala. I don't know what they dyed it with.
Dyed it with?
Tikka masala.
I don't know.
There's not really like a natural spice or herb that comes to mind that created the colour it
It's
was.
a string of letters. It's like a hex code.
Yeah.
Would actually be what it was.
Yeah.
From so local elections, Labour did very, very well with some caveats. Conservatives did largely pretty dreadfully, with like Ben Houchen the notable exception. Although his vote share did plummet.
No, but it always does.
Yeah.
Unless you're Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan.
Exactly. The PoliticsJOE bounce actually.
Yeah.
It's PoliticsJOE what won it.
That's actually what they're calling it.
It's the PoliticsJOE election.
Yeah.
Let that be a lesson to every mainstream politician.
Yeah.
You need the PoliticsJOE bounce.
We will softball the questions.
Do you want very little scrutiny? If you're Rishi Sunak, what do you think? Kind of ignoring his plan or what he wants to do, like the hung parliament crap. What do you think he should learn from this set of election results?
Well, it's interesting you say that. Before I answer that question, I would also like to say something else that Isaac Levido will be showing to Tory MPs alongside those projections from the local elections. He'll also show them that during the Blackpool South by-election, which Labour won with less votes than the previous Labour candidate lost with at the general election.
I think in terms of total number.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's good about that is it's a nice soundbite. Oh, Labour voters aren't turning up. But listen, no one ever turns up for a by-election. Turnout is always low. But good for you. Good for you for finding the silver lining. Okay, so I thought we could go through the Conservatives' 5 key pledges.
Yeah.
So what you've got to remember is Rishi Sunak has said he's not moving. The plan is working. So should we go through the plan?
Yes, there's also that's Levido's strategy. That was like Levido said to Rishi Sunak, pick 5 things and say, this is our metric.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to achieve and test me on these things.
Yeah. And so like to start with, he was like, Rishi Sunak was like, world peace. And then he was like, no.
No, something vague.
Yeah. And then he was like, well, we'll fill in every pothole in the country. No. Okay, so let's go through the ones that they actually came up with. Halving inflation. Achieved.
Mm-hmm.
Economy growing. Possibly achieved on Friday.
We'll see.
We'll see. Debt falling. Possibly on Friday.
Friday's a big day.
NHS waiting lists.
Yeah, that's an X.
I believe that was actually Rishi Sunak himself who was forced to admit that actually he hadn't even made a dent in the waiting lists. Those waiting lists are piling up. 5, small boats.
Also X.
I believe that actually the highest number of people across the channel, I believe it was the day after that guy voluntarily went off to Rwanda.
Oh, with $3,000 in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think they give that $3,000 to him? Like, I could imagine like they gave like traveller's checks or something.
Like Monzo or something?
No, but like it would be something like traveller's checks, like he can't use. He gets to remind them. It's like, can anyone cash these?
Oh no, we don't do that anymore. Actually,
Yeah.
It's
not 1989.
So on that assessment of Sunak's records, I'll put it back to that. What do you think what
are you pulling back?
The question I asked about what do you think his tactics should be? What should he learn from this set of results?
Well, that people don't like the plan, that the plan isn't working. But the party is so... All right, the Conservative Party is always a broad church. We accept that premise. But over the weekend, the party was so divided. It's sort of like, I guess, if you think something, there might be an MP, a Conservative MP, that fits your line of thinking, if you're a Conservative voter. So, Suella Braverman, she said that the rhetoric needs to be pulled forward, the plan needs to be pulled further to the right. So she said we need to be taken out of the ECHR, we need to put a legal cap on migration, and we need to stop the boats. Right, so that's one side of it. And then Damien Green was like, we need to come right back from where we've been, and we need to put it more towards the One Nation, we need to put it more towards sort of the soft right, and we just need to be sensible, David Cameron-esque conservatives. Sunak is somewhere else from either of those. He's not even in the middle. He's not even trying to balance it. But they came out with the most ridiculous proposal yesterday. So you come off the back of these catastrophic local elections. You know, only in recent history were they mirrored by John Major's catastrophic 96 local elections, which led to the 97 general election, where your dad started doing things.
My dad's Tony Blair.
Yeah. To come off the back of that and go, we need a really good proposal for the electorate. We need to really stimulate the voters, And they came up with single-sex toilets in office buildings.
No, I forgot about that. Yeah, I think that shows their blinkeredness. As in, my kind of read from the local election campaigns is that people did well the more progressive they were. As in, Reform did quite badly very badly actually in the local elections. Sorry about that. Must have been a rough night for you guys. But admittedly, they didn't stand in a lot of places, but they underperformed.
1 in 6 wards they stood in. Yeah,
I think they still underperformed. So I think that kind of suggests there is less of an appetite for this right-wing culture war.
Agree.
Anti-progressive.
Because Britain First sucked during the mayoral election.
In fairness, they weren't really much of a... I wasn't expecting them to do well.
No, but they sucked.
Yeah, no, they did really... Yeah, they did. Really badly.
And Susan Hall also did terribly as well.
Yes, but I think that's a perfect example. As in, Susan Hall leaned into this culture war, like, ULEZ nonsense, leaning into, like, Islamophobic tropes, things like that. And people, especially in London, which is mental, being, like, multicultural metropolitan London.
I love it. She was like, what London needs right now is Enoch Powell.
Like, that should surely be the death knell of that tactic.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, that doesn't work. When you look at people like Sadiq Khan, Andy Burnham doing like progressive environmental things, there is an appetite for that, and they're being re-elected.
Can we just talk about something that was genuinely really funny?
What?
When someone said that the early results from Barnet were showing that Susan Hall was ahead, and the votes weren't even being counted yet.
What the fuck was that? Everyone was there's a Duncan Robinson from The Economist.
Yeah.
He, as an evergreen tweet, lots of crack being smoked in British politics at the moment. And I think on Friday there was people smoking crack, just being like, oh, yep, this is absolutely true. Susan Hall is ahead.
But I was receiving a lot of concern from Labour.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of Labour activists were really concerned about it because the turnout, what happened was the turnout for the outer boroughs came in before a lot of the inner boroughs.
Mm-hmm.
And there was concern that the outer boroughs were going to vote on a ULEZ referendum. And so, because the outer boroughs have only recently got ULEZ and a lot more people drive there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the panic came from there. And it was being briefed out by both Labour and Tory advisors. So but that line about Barnet votes are showing Susan Hall's ahead, and they haven't even gone to they've just gone through verification.
Just made it up.
Yeah,
just made it up. What do you think then? On the other hand, Keir Starmer oversaw a huge success for the Labour Party in Rishi Sunak's backyard as well.
In his backyard, tanks on his lawn.
Tanks on his lawn. Tanks on his lawn.
What
Statesman like
What
Starmer.
was the one I texted you guys on the weekend that I wanted to bring in? Belly aching?
Belly aching.
I
Yes,
heard
lots.
that one,
There's been
yeah.
lots of belly aching on
Yeah.
the sides of the Conservative, but some belly soothing on the sides of the Labour Party with victories like North Yorkshire, tanks on his lawn, etc. But
Where other areas, bit of a damp squib. West Yorkshire, damp squib.
Damp
Tracy
squib.
Braben, who just held on.
damp squib.
Ben Houchin gets a bit of a damp squib as well because he reduced his majority.
Yes. I kind of lost whose perspective we had on the Ben Houchin thing there. But for Ben Houchin, yes, that's a damp squib.
Yeah.
And then West Midlands? Is that who? Is it West or East?
East Midlands is the new one.
West Midlands
Yeah.
was a medium squib
Medium squib
for Andy Street.
for medium squib.
I don't know, I think I've lost this metaphor. But anyway, what can Keir Starmer learn from Labour's set of results?
Well, their position on Palestine is pretty important.
Yeah.
I'm really getting annoyed at this sort of, the Muslims vote this way and the students vote this way. Sort of like, yes, people vote in monoliths. Like, it's just one homogenous group. That's also actually where strategists are falling behind looking ahead to the general election, because they think that students are all, they're relying on the student vote to vote Labour. And actually, it's so difficult. Well, students do go and vote, but the sentiment or the feeling on campuses up and down the country at the moment is very, we need to expose what's going on in Gaza. Mm-hmm. And if the Labour leadership aren't courting that vote by pressuring the Conservative government to intervene, there could be boycotts. There could be boycotts of voting. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that they'll necessarily turn... even if they did turn to the Green candidate, they wouldn't turn to Lib Dem. If they could turn to the Green candidate, that would just split the vote. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't get a Green MP, apart from if you... Maybe in Bristol, maybe in Brighton Pavilion. But you're not going to get... It will just split the vote. You could deliver a Tory. Especially in areas like Cambridge. Mm-hmm. This is why it's going to be very beneficial for Warwick, that sort of area. It's going to be really beneficial for the Conservatives if they put this election in October, because it will be very quick turnaround for people to get registered at their new addresses for university. Yeah. Even November, I would say, is quite tight turnaround, because what is it? Is it a 6-week lead or is it a 4-week lead for when you have to file your, you have to put yourself on the electoral register? But even then, imagine all the councils getting backed up trying to unload everyone onto the electoral register within like a couple of weeks. We could be looking at like disenfranchising a lot of people.
Because there's also as well in Uxbridge, Brunel University is in Uxbridge? Yeah. And it wasn't during term time. So perhaps that had an outsized effect on the Tory victory there, rather than ULEZ. I think when people talk about students, or like media, or like politicians talk about students, especially with kind of the encampments that we're seeing now at different universities, like kind of echoing the ones in America, there's a disproportionate amount of people who participated in student politics in both British politics and the media. Like the vast majority of people at British universities or universities in general do not engage with the student union officers. They don't vote for... Can
I give a confession?
Yes.
I never engaged with the student union ever. Did you?
I voted every time. And also
I never engaged.
I did student journalism, so I always interviewed
I didn't do that either. I did an English literature degree, so a lot of my time is taken up by sitting in my room reading.
Reading. And so the discussion about like, campus politics, or like this is what the NUS is doing, or things like that, people take that a lot more seriously than like what it actually means. Like the vast majority of people at university are like will walk past an encampment and be like, what's that? And they won't engage with it either way. I think it's such a very it's a minority activity engaging in these kind of like campus politics.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There used to be stuff going on at Sussex all the time that I didn't know was happening. I used to read about it in the paper, being like, was that here? No, apart from there was the Sussex 5 That was quite cool.
What was Sussex 5?
They occupied a building. Wonder what they occupied it over. Oh, they occupied it. Sorry, this is like years ago. This is why I don't remember. Anyway, they occupied it because the university privatised the cleaners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's quite sick.
It's a very noble
Yeah, definitely.
reason to occupy something.
Yeah, and then you just go to a lecture and you'd be like, oh shit, this lecture theatre's been occupied.
Yeah.
Like, crap.
They were having like, there were a few, because there are quite a lot of comedians and like people like that live down in
Brighton.
Brighton and Lewis.
Okay.
So they were getting like, they were eating good. You know, like that protester who was at Columbia who said, we've been denied humanitarian aid.
Yes.
Well, this lot were given humanitarian aid often. You'd like they'd be like doing like this, the pulley system, like pulling up like 20 Domino's pizzas and stuff.
It's quite sick. I went to one in there was like a occupation at a university building at the University of Manchester, and it is like just quite sick. It's quite cool seeing people involved in like direct action.
Yeah.
Like that, having like running battles with the security guards and stuff like that. And there was clips of them like wrestling with the security guards because the security guards wanted to lock them into the buildings and they didn't want to be locked into the building.
There's something really odd about the type of person that becomes a security guard because they all seem to be kind of cut from the same cloth. Like they think they're the police, but they're not.
No.
Like my sister at university during the pandemic, it wasn't her, but there were other people, were locked into their student halls by the security.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about all that.
Like actually locked in by the security. And then like when they contacted the university were obviously like, what the fuck? You don't lock them in. And then they were coming out for cigarettes. It's like, they can do that.
They're allowed to smoke.
They're not pigs. Like,
They're not pigs.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
they're not pigs.
But then, well.
I am not a pig. I'm a human being. And I deserve to have a cigarette.
I don't know what I would have done during that.
On me not allowed to smoke.
No, I'm not a smoker, Ed.
It's a lie. You're an open smoker.
Ed loves to lie.
Ava loves to lie. That's not a lie. That's the truth. What is there anything else? I think we barely touched on Starmer there.
Oh, all right, Kevin Spacey.
Don't think that means anything. I don't think that actually means anything. So obviously the Labour is vulnerable to the left in. Then there's also an argument, how much can you take from these elections, because people vote very differently in kind of local elections are kind of lower, people see them as lower stakes, and it's like a good opportunity to protest, whereas in a general election, will they really nail their colours to the mast and protest vote at the risk of letting the Conservatives back in?
Yes. Also, Peter Mandelson doesn't want any of the left in the party. Doesn't want any of the socialists. He rooted them all out during the Blair era. Mm-hmm. And he is back, baby.
He is back, but he needs them to vote for them, even if they're not in the party.
Can I say something crazy?
Always.
The left is always very ideologue driven. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the left would actually rather shoot themselves in the foot than achieve a goal with the help of someone they don't like. So I actually would posit that they would rather eradicate the left at any cost.
Mandelson would.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, as he could see them as a threat. Do you want to talk about the green guy?
The green guy.
The councillor has been under investigation.
Yeah, we should talk about that. But before that, can we actually just talk about Zack Polanski?
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Because, go on.
Zack Polanski, co-leader of the Green Party, in a past life, was a hypnotist. I don't know what the difference is between a hypnotherapist and a hypnotist. And he's the star of an article in The Sun where he claims that he can make women's breasts bigger by hypnotising them.
I found it earlier by searching Zack Polanski breasts. Okay.
I think that's the...
Okay, right. Here we go. Can you really think your boob's bigger? Tit noticed. As hypnotherapist says you can boost cut with mind. Sorry, I'm not I need to think tabloid. As hypnotherapist says you can boost cup with mind, Sun Girl Casey Davies finds out with surprising results. Has the time come when we can burn all these uncomfortable push-up bras? Hypnotherapist Zack Polanski reckons so. He says he can boost your cup size using the mind alone. This is an extremely new approach, but I can see it becoming popular very quickly. It's so safe and a lot cheaper than a boob job, says Zack.
You know when Cara Denyer was on Question Time and asked Richard Tice what his science background was? I like the great plaudits. Reverse flip that right back onto Zack Polanski. Where's your medical degree, pal? Where's your biology degree? You can't just think people's boobs bigger.
Do you think, does the woman herself have to think her boob's bigger, or can a partner do it? Yeah.
It's like Bruce Almighty. You know the bit?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
He's like about to have sex with Jennifer Aniston, and he makes her boobs bigger.
Yeah. Do you think that's where he got the idea?
He was watching him he brings the moon right close to the balcony.
Yeah.
And she's just in the bathroom and her boobs get way bigger.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Imagine you're like,
If you had that power, would you use it?
To make people's boobs bigger? No. Maybe it's a prank.
A prank?
Oh, just be like, whoa!
Who would you prank?
I don't think there's a way to answer that. I think...
Would you give your enemy bigger boobs?
My enemy?
Yeah.
An enemy with surely someone with if it became ludicrously big to cause back pain.
That's how you'll get them. Through back pain. I sentence you to a life of 2 ibuprofen every morning.
And you can't. And there's a waiting list on the NHS to get them reduced. And private costs so much.
And you have to field off questions from all your male colleagues for the rest of time. That's like, why would you want to reduce those?
Psychologically, that would be quite devastating.
Well, look, we've circled back to where we began. Psychologically.
Also, and like another point, you could just do it to a man.
I thought that's what we were talking about.
Oh, in my head, I just assumed woman. But you could just give a man giant Sadiq Khans. Sorry. Obviously, it'd be Sadiq Khan.
No.
Yeah, it'd be so funny.
Well, okay.
Sadiq Khan walking around with a pair of double Fs.
Do you think that would help him?
He'd never get anything done.
We'd be looking at them the whole time.
I'd be pawing at them.
You would be.
He would be.
Oh.
Me. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Thank you again for listening.
Wow.
Congratulations, sir. A race well run. It's a Sadiq Khan's bounce. Imagine
bounce.
Imagine how many votes you'd win next time with a big pair of honkers.
Everyone suddenly loves ULEZ. Mr. Mayor, could you please come to my area and explain ULEZ again?
People are like, this is the new politician. Sadiq Khan is genuinely new. If he'd a pair of humongous boobs.
He's back, but something's different.
Something's different. He has to walk sideways through doors. Obviously, lots of talk about the impact of Gaza. Obviously, with all the chat about Gaza in the local elections, people winning or doing very well on platforms, openly pro-Palestine, pro-Gaza.
There's a Green councillor that's in trouble.
Yes. What's that?
He's under investigation by the Green Party for shouting Allahu Akbar. After shouting, "We will not be silenced. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of Palestine."
The video of that was shared by Tommy Robinson. The man in question is called Monthan Ali.
Well, at least someone sensible has critiqued it.
He's a Green councillor in Leeds, and he runs a gardening YouTube channel. Is something else he does. And is active on. Yeah, he does. So he's been criticised for shouting Allahu Akbar by... Allahu Akbar means God is great.
Right, does it?
Yeah. So it's like I think it's been weaponized by bad faith actors, racist people.
Well, yeah, because there was those tweets going around, weren't there, after the local elections that were like, this person is a Muslim. This person is a Muslim.
Yep.
This person is a Muslim. It's like, very good. You have identified someone's religion.
Oh, congrats.
Very clever.
Very, very clever.
You get your level 2 swimming badge now.
I would happy the reward.
Well, because it's all bullshit, isn't it?
Level 2 swimming is not bullshit.
So the conversation really is about politics and should it be entwined with religion? Because we've talked about, actually you weren't here when you absconded from this podcast.
Was I not ill?
Yeah, you were. You were on your deathbed. But I don't see why you couldn't have had a microphone.
Because I never sent one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
We were talking about the role of the king in signing off bills from Parliament, the ultimate royal assent. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about the creep of, or the masquerading of, like, tighter laws on abortion or tighter controls on the family or on, or actually on your personal body, swept through under the guise of Christianity. Mm-hmm. And I hate it because I think there's a cloak that people use, and it's like, actually, you just would like to implement some more control here. Mm-hmm. Because, I'm at church every now and again, Mm-hmm. The way that some of these MPs talk about Christianity, I don't know if we're reading from the same book, because I genuinely do get quite confused, because the Bible has been interpreted subjectively, right?
Yep.
For all time. You have the homily after the gospel, and the homily is when the priest interprets the gospel in a way that he thinks will be interesting, be helpful to the parish. Mm-hmm. So there's like a large degree of subjectivity in it. And sometimes when MPs quote parts of the gospel, I'm like, who is your priest? Is it Enoch Powell?
He's back.
Because this is a very different interpretation.
When did he have a career change?
Yeah. But anyway, my broad view is I think there should be an entirely separate church and state, and I think that should account for all religions.
It's interesting in this one. I think people object to this because it's a not white Muslim person thanking God. That's the objection. I think a lot of this criticism is racist. I think if you say Kate Forbes had run to be leader of the SNP and won, and in her acceptance speech thanked God, I don't think anyone would.
Well, there were think pieces
object.
being written about her last week where it said you can't be a Christian anymore. You can't be openly Christian.
Which I thought was, to my mind, was complete bullshit. I think everyone's objections to Kate Forbes's politics and opinions are to do with her opinions in politics. It's not to do with the fact she's religious.
Yeah.
It's to do with the fact she has regressive views about sex, the family, abortion, which lots of people, especially in kind of the model of Scotland that the SNP have shaped, completely incompatible with how the SNP like to view themselves and how they like to view Scotland. Admittedly, Kate Forbes did nearly win the leadership contest against Humza Yousaf, so there's obviously some appetite for it. And I'm not saying that Scotland is a ultra progressive haven. It's not. But I think that was people's objections to it, particularly on the left and amongst kind of like younger people. Yeah,
it was a really extreme interpretation of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, like their objection, people sort of hide under. Tim Farron did this from the Lib Dems when he was leader, and he basically said that he wasn't all right with the gays because he was a Christian. And it's like, well, actually, Church of England are all right with the gays. Mm-hmm. Most Catholic priests I know are all right with it. Actually, we even had a priest once who was gay. Not practicing, obviously.
That's kind of the main part, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, when they hide under that, that's another thing that really pisses me off, actually, while we're on it. Mm-hmm. Why on earth? Why is there always this objection to the gays getting married in the Church of England? And they're like, wow, it's not in the Bible, it's whatever. And it's like, neither was divorce, all right? Yep. Your entire church is fake. Just let them get married in there.
So your objection to it is that it's a doctrinal issue. It's not it's because they're Protestant. It's not God that's you.
But if you're allowed to create an entire religion because you don't, or subsect of the religion, because you don't want to be married anymore,
and you betray the word of Rome,
yeah, you betray the word of Rome over it, well, then I'm sure
if you violate the Bishop of Rome's trust,
Because also,
If he says you can't get divorced, you get divorced, you're dead to me.
you could make an even heavier argument. The divorcees are now allowed back into the Catholic Church. You weren't allowed to go to church if you were divorced.
Really?
Actually. Yeah, they take it really seriously. But marriage is actually a sacrament, right? Nothing else. The gays are not. So I don't see why they can't be.
What is, I don't know what that sentence means.
Sacrament is like the most like binding promise.
Right.
It's like a what? I don't know how to explain it, Sean.
It's like a devotion to the church.
Sean says it's just like a devotion for the church, and you two are doing that thing again where you pretend Catholicism is the only religion. Pretend you just talk about it as if it's true, or if it's like it's absolutely correct or right.
No, but I'm just
I'm taking the piss out of you.
That marriage is a sacrament. You broke that, right, to make your little Church of England. Okay.
So you're talking to me as if I'm Henry VIII.
Yeah, but
It's just like
just let the gays get married
I'm
in the
also
church.
Scottish.
I don't see why the gays can't get married in Catholic Church either.
No, I agree with that
I'd like
entirely.
to take that one to El Papal.
To Pope Francis.
Daddy Francis.
To go back to the
Oh yeah, sorry, the podcast.
the councillor. Anyway, that was religion, Joe. For all other issues, opinions about Catholicism and liturgy, you'll be in the Tablet. I think that's a magazine.
The Tablet.
I think it's a.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Is that
How do you
Catholic
know
magazine?
about that?
How do I know about
You've been
it?
sniffing around at Baptist churches or something.
Yeah, Ava's got a new column in the Tablet.
Do you know who does have a column in the Tablet? I think it's Sheila Fogarty. Did you know that, Sean? No, yeah.
How did he not know
She's
that?
written for that
All the
before.
Catholic news is getting slipping past.
I bring it up because that's a religion that I know.
No, I
and
know.
I've grown up with, and I'm just saying that. But I do think that it should be secular.
Yes. There's also something that's occurred to me about the use of the phrase Allahu Akbar is it's easy to take an Arabic phrase and make it seem scary to racist people or something and be like, you've associated Arabic and the use of Arabic language with terror and Islamism and whatever, because that's largely how it's been presented in the media.
To play devil's advocate, it has been associated with terror, and rightfully, like it has been.
Yeah.
I think we would be gaslighting if we said that it hadn't been, but it has been.
But then I suppose there's probably an argument to use it in different contexts and for people to see it in different contexts. Like, people say like inshallah now. Like 2 or 3 years ago, there was no white guy saying inshallah.
No.
But now.
Bob Seeley, Tory MP for Isle of Wight, he loves inshallah.
Does he?
He does.
That's inshallah,
I think
mashallah.
he said it in the Commons before.
Did he? So things like that. It's like you can kind of neutralize these loaded phrases, but take them back.
I
from
don't
the
think
races.
inshallah was ever not neutralised. I
But-
think
but
that
I
was always.
I think people might have objected to it just by virtue of it being Arabic.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like enough fear. It's not like there's been so much fear mongering towards like the Muslim community and Arabic and whatever in this country that I think any use of Arabic probably would. Well, people go to Whitechapel and take a photo of like the sign that's in Bengali, and they're like, "What the fuck?" and it just says Whitechapel, but in Bengali. Like people's attitudes to kind of Eastern languages, particularly like associated with Muslim communities, is so regressive and racist that it's important to kind of bring them back for people to platform them in a neutral way. And also, if you are a practicing Muslim, saying God is great after you do something, and like you've been elected as a councillor, you're happy. I don't really think there's much wrong with that.
I think it's a bit odd to start yelling after you get elected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that. Is it not the same
Do
instinct?
people do that?
Yeah, definitely. You saw Nicola Sturgeon after Joe Swinson lost her
Oh
seat.
yeah, that's true.
She shouted, Allahu Akbar. She will lose her seat, inshallah.
I don't know what the Green Party are investigating.
He so on after October the 7th, he shared some posts on social media on TikTok and Twitter, kind of saying that suggesting that Palestine was the largest concentration camp in the world, and that it was kind of like it was like an act of resistance. Was
Right.
October 7th? But
They should have probably investigated that then, no?
yes, that's people's point. It's like, how did this guy make it to the candidacy? How
Right.
did this guy make it all the way through to being an actual Green? Because now, even if the Greens get rid of him, he's still an elected councillor.
I see.
But he said, and we should probably give him his statement. He said a statement. Ali shared a statement through the Green Party. I'm sorry for any upset my comments caused about the Gaza conflict. That was not my intention. I do not support violence on either side. I've consistently called for an immediate ceasefire and a release of all hostages. I should also make clear that it is not unusual for somebody of my faith to use the words Allahu Akbar as an expression of gratitude and celebration. Some have sought to misrepresent me, and it suggests Islamophobia to me.
Well, I think that's odd that he said that because I don't understand why Tommy Robinson would want to misrepresent him.
No, that's good. I can't imagine what good that would serve. That would serve Tommy.
No.
Someone else has had who might be shouting Allahu Akbar. John Swinney.
Yeah?
I like just the idea that just there's like just at every like the Arabic is the language of the SNP.
Yeah.
And they've just been just gotten really into it.
Well, that's what they did, you see. They made all the toilets all gender, but no one realised they were because they put the signs in Arabic.
And and people were like, I'm not going in there
No, so
because I'm racist.
people think they've been doing separate toilets all these, for the last 20 years, but actually all the way since Salmond, it's been communal.
It's been communal. You're pissing each other's mouths. John Swinney will be installed as he's been installed as leader of the SNP. He was unopposed, and he'll be voted in as first minister.
No one can hold him back.
Hold him back.
Yeah.
What? Was that, sorry.
He walked it.
Oh, he did walk it. Absolutely. Did you see about the rogue SNP activist who was going to stand? No. There was a man called Graham McCormick.
Yeah, he did.
Who he was like, I'm going to run, and he reckoned he could. He's like a veteran SNP activist. I think he's in his late 60s, and he kind of opposed the lack of debate within the party.
I do get that.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because it's actually kind of mad that someone can just walk in and be like, all right, lads,
Well,
I'll take it from here.
Well, in the last 2 out of 3 SNP leadership elections, there's been no opponent.
Do you know what sucked?
No.
Sucked. The SNP MPs who were trying to defend why they said it was unacceptable that we had our third prime minister under a conservative government unelected, but they were also saying it was totally fine that the SNP had done that.
Yeah.
It was like, listen, boys, listen, we shouldn't be throwing stones when we don't live in a house.
Are you implying that all Scottish people are homeless?
It's glass houses, isn't it?
When you don't live in a house, you shouldn't sleep on stones. Anyway, Humza Yousaf is going to resign as First Minister this afternoon.
I would have known that. I would have got that glass houses thing right if I'd been allowed to say it in its original Arabic.
We're real scholars of Arabic. It turns out you mean all you're all fluent in Arabic, which I've never mentioned. John Swinney was the leader of the SNP between 2000 and 2004. He was a senior minister.
It wasn't great then, though, was it?
No.
You could call it a damp squib.
Good, very damn squib. Soaking.
A wet squib.
A soaking wet squib. What is a squib? In Harry Potter, it's someone who's magic.
Oh!
It is.
I'm so tired of you.
It is. And
Squib. Define.
Defines.
Oh, a small firework that burns with a hissing sound before exploding.
Oh, okay. So it's like if it's damp, it won't do much.
Yeah, it's like if you try to light a cartwheel on November 5th and it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what you said, I just said it again. Sorry about that. Sorry. It also could be a short piece of satirical writing, which damp squib makes sense in that, because if the paper's wet, it'd be harder to read.
This is going down like a damp squib. I'm always trying to read my parliamentary sketches, and they're soaking wet.
Yeah.
John Swinney says he's going to be the man to deliver independence. Thoughts?
All right, but how?
Yes, he's going to continue with the same metric for a independence referendum, which is a majority of seats in the general election in Scotland.
What I was saying on the podcast when we talked about independence the last time, and I said that I thought it couldn't have been further away.
Yeah.
What I meant by that, people interpreted it being like me saying that I didn't think the Scottish people wanted that. That's not what I was saying. I was saying I can't imagine a Westminster government granting a legally binding referendum. Like, I don't think there's any appetite for it.
Do you know what? There's also not. I'm going to.
The Tories should do that. Oh my
What, just give
god!
them a
You know,
referendum?
like how they're salting the earth at the moment for for Labour. They should just be like, fuck it, give it to them in August.
Go!
Do it.
Go give it a fucking...
and then they lose the
be a-
general, and then Labour are like,
Shit. But then the Tories still have seats in Scotland, and they would probably lose a fair
Not
chunk
many.
of their stump majority now.
yeah.
To be like, they lose like Douglas Ross.
Oh
He'd go.
no.
Oh no. Other proud Scottish Conservatives and Unionists. I think though, I don't think you should have walked back to your comments there
What?
because you're scared of the commenters. I'm not.
No, but that's what I actually meant when
No,
I
I
was
know.
saying it.
But I think I don't think.
People willfully misinterpreting me.
Oh, they do. They love to do
They
that.
just suck me off. Like, what?
Anyway,
Oh, you mad because you wouldn't be able to say that?
yes, I'm furious about it. All I want to say on this podcast, but I can't because of woke. Anyway.
you
I
remem-
can.
Do you remember when you thought that giving a blowjob was pissing in someone's mouth?
Never thought that. My joke was misinterpreted, and when I explained it, you all went, "Oh."
When you explained it, it was worse.
Yes, probably.
You might want to talk about John Swinney, and I'm not going to let you.
What if I do it in Arabic? Would you let
Yes.
me then?
Yeah.
Shit, damn it. My ruse. I can't speak Arabic. Basically, I don't think there's any appetite in Scotland
None.
for. Are you just There's people's priorities at the moment, regardless of whether or not you support independence or not. In theory, you are care much more about the cost of living. You actually care a lot more about realignment with the EU. There's a larger
Could there not be achieved through independence, though?
yes, but there's a large proportion of the Scottish electorate care more about that than that's a more larger, uniform, homogenous group than either side of the independence debate.
So they want to go like full ROI. Or Northern Ireland, maybe they want to be like that. They want to still,
Yeah, probably.
they want to still be kind of in.
They want to be they want a sausage alignment.
Yeah.
So I think Humza Yousaf actually, because he was asked, do you think John Swinney is going to be the man to lead Scotland to independence? And Humza Yousaf said yes. And if you were John Swinney, you'd be like, fuck, why'd you say that? Because I think there's going to be, I think you're right. Scotland is so far away from independence. It's just people don't care about it enough at the moment.
Do you think?
100%. There's like, people don't, it's because it's such a big abstract theory, and it's so like, it's so untangible, and it's so people don't actually know what it look like. And I actually wonder if
Yeah, it felt like
Brexit
there
has
was a
affected it
clearer
in that way as
plan.
well.
Yeah, there was a clearer plan about what it would look like a few years ago. Because I remember reading, like, they had like whole big research booklets that were on like how we would provide our energy, how would we
On
do
the white
this,
paper,
da-da-da.
the
Yeah.
2014
No,
referendum.
it was going on. No, not them. I'm talking about like 2020. There was like, I actually specifically remember Ian Blackford like presenting this booklet that was like, this is how we're going to power like most of Scotland through wind. And it was like, oh, there is some planning here. Now they'd have to like go through the cupboard and be like, that's them blowing the dust off. Yeah.
Flick through. I think also if you're John Swinney and the SNP saying that like we're still just right round the corner from independence, it allows you to keep the nationalist vote on your side. It kind of, if you're saying, if the Greens don't back you on something now, you can say, what the hell, independence is just round the corner. I thought you wanted independence. Do you not want independence? And it keeps the SNP membership voters in line. Like if you deviate from us in any way, you're actually attacking the project. It allows them to
Like a child.
yeah, like a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they treat them.
Nearly there.
No, they're like, oh, fucking next week we're this close.
Yeah.
We're this close to independence.
Yeah.
Which I think is it's actually I think it's unfair on members, and because what I kind of think John Swinney should have been completely honest and been like, yeah, we are quite far away, but if you let me lead and do my work, I will set up the groundwork for the next 10 years, and in 10 years time, when our education system's back, when we have like no potholes in Scotland anymore, when we're all back to that, when all your priorities, other priorities, because people don't prioritise independence in their vote as like it's not as high a priority for people as things like healthcare, education, cost of living. When that's all sorted, then we can talk about it. I think that would be more sensible. But that would also be, if you have nothing else to say or no other policy ideas, then independence is a crutch.
Because they tried to blame not hitting their net zero targets on Westminster.
Mm.
That didn't quite land.
Yep.
In the way that they wanted it to.
Mm-hmm. I think it just seems like if you
that fell short.
If you make it your flagship target, it's also as well like you can't both be this big influential world-renowned government and both be tiny little government hamstrung by Westminster.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, people look to us as a model of progressivism, social democracy, and also like, look how crap we are.
You know, one thing, actually, there's been a succession of poor decisions made, and I think that they can be aptly summarised by the XL Bully decision.
Oh, that was mental. Fuck, that was mental. Yeah.
England bans XL Bullies.
Yes.
Scotland does not.
Scotland's like, actually, Scotland's different.
Because behind the scenes, it was like a sort of petulance of we're not going to follow England. We're not going to just fall in line with England. Yep. Then a couple of weeks later, when they realise that they're being flooded with XL bullies, they decide to bring in the legislation.
It shows the hollowness of the kind of the Nicola Sturgeon approach to the SNP, which was present the SNP, both the SNP. So she turned the SNP into this like, we are progressive, left-wing, liberal, way more so than the Conservative government. It was actually quite handy having the Conservatives in Westminster to be like, look how liberal we are, look how left-wing we are. And also suggesting that in somehow Scotland was uniquely more progressive than England, which I don't necessarily think is true. And it shows the hollowness of that. It's like, oh, we need to consider this differently because we are different. Scotland is different, so XL bullies will behave differently. In Scotland, it's like magical thinking. It's like magical realism almost, that somehow XL bullies cross the border from England to Scotland and stop eating children.
Well, the problem is that if you're always in a city, no matter where you are in the UK, you're always going to be around more progressive people. You just are.
Yeah.
So maybe she wasn't up
north.
Maybe she wasn't, going Isle of Skye enough.
It's the problem of the centre belt domination of the SNP. It's the Dundonians and the Glaswegians that have taken hold.
Yeah.
And John Swinney, like to shout out, is the first Minister of Scotland to go to Edinburgh University. About time too. Am I right?
I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Just thought he's first.
Who was?
John Swinney, first Edinburgh Uni graduate to be First Minister.
Right. Where did Nicola go?
Glasgow.
Where did Alex Salmon go?
St Andrews.
I bet he did.
Have you run out of ones you know?
No, I was saying I bet he did. Where did Kate Forbes go?
Not been First Minister.
Oh yeah, First Minister. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought we were just talking about cab.
Just everything.
Where did Stephen Flynn go? He's the First Minister of my heart.
I think Aberdeen. He's from Dundee. Anyway, have we got anything else more to say about Scotland, do you think?
I'm all right. You?
Yeah. Shall we move on to our special treat?
Our special treat?
Yes.
Da 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 da!
We're back with actually the biggest news of the weekend, in which Kendrick Lamar called Drake a paedophile, and here to discuss that is paedophile expert paedophile correspondent.
I was about
Sean
to say
Hickey.
takes one to know one.
Oh my god! Holy shit! Noted nonce hunter. No, showbiz correspondent.
I like
Sean
Nonce
Hickey.
Hunter actually, but it wasn't me. It was
Let's go
Kendrick
showbiz
that
correspondent.
Yeah, okay.
If you could just make it quite clear quite quickly that he's denied it.
Oh yeah, he denied it. Of course, yeah.
End of
Drake
segment.
has denied the the allegations, and that's it. That's the end of it.
What's the story? Why has he done this?
How far do you want to go back?
Let's go.
Not as far as your notes.
I do. Let's go.
We can go back. We can speed through from the beginning. So in
Over
October,
the last 4 weeks.
in October last year, Drake and J. Cole had a song where J. Cole referenced himself, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar as the big three.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I don't think I have a date for... No, I do actually. I do. It's the 26th of March. Metro Boomin did a song with Kendrick Lamar called Like That, where Kendrick Lamar responded to that, refuting the claim that he is a member of the Big Three and he is just Big Me.
Big one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just him on his own.
But I suppose that's because 3 and me rhyme.
Yeah. That's
Great.
exactly why.
Great.
So after that, so the Drake Kendrick beef starts with J. Cole. J. Cole said the line Big Three.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick refuted it. J. Cole came back with a 7-minute diss track, taking the piss out of Kendrick Lamar. Before Kendrick Lamar could even put pen to paper for a response, J. Cole apologized for giving the big one to...
Do you retract it?
He apologized at so it was like a music festival a couple of days afterwards. He was saying that was like the lamest thing that he did in his life, disrupted his... I think he mentions his sleep pattern in it. He said he hadn't slept as well as he did 2 days prior.
Really?
So that was enough for him to say sorry for what he had said. So
You think that was because he was on a different strain of melatonin, or do you think that it was actually what he'd said in the song didn't sit with him right?
yeah, it might have been that not sitting with
Because
him.
it's Japanese law that if you can't sleep at night, it's because you're awake in someone's dreams. So it's possible he couldn't sleep because he was awake in Kendrick's dreams.
Potentially.
living rent free in his head. Yeah, so maybe he got away with it.
So then Drake and Kendrick start trading.
Yeah, so then it kind of
Bars.
just went quiet. That was what, the beginning of April, and then Drake released a song at the beginning of last week. Push-ups, 19th of April. So it's actually quite a while ago, where he not only called out Kendrick Lamar but also called out Metro Boomin, the guy who produced the track that Kendrick called out J. Cole and Drake on. Metro Boomin's a producer. He just told him to shut up and go make drum tracks. We'll come back to Metro Boomin later on because he does come back into it. So is something wrong?
I think
Is something wrong?
we're talking about this weekend. And you were like, well, on the 17th of April at 2:30 p.m.
Well, we need to do the context.
No, true.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of context to it.
Katie Razzle didn't get laughed at like this when she was on the news at 10 covering it.
I don't know who Katie Razzle is.
The media correspondent for the BBC.
Oh no, the
Got you.
showbiz correspondent.
I think my interpretation of that is I think the PoliticsJOE audience would be more abreast of this than BBC News.
Abreast.
Yes.
Yeah?
Like City Can't. Huge tits.
Kendrick Lamar also has huge tits.
Drake didn't
That's
get,
what happens when you win a rap battle. You just get bigger tits.
Drake didn't get a BBL, but he did get a boob job.
So Drake did that, and on the very same day, he released Tailor Made Freestyle, which you might enjoy now, which there are a couple of references to Taylor Swift in, because Kendrick Lamar has done a couple of features on Taylor Swift tracks in the past.
Yeah, of course, he was
Yeah.
on Bad Blood.
Yes, exactly. And has he's been on tour with her as well, I think.
Has he?
I think.
Don't know.
I think Drake says that in the song. Maybe it's false. We'll open the floor to Kendrick Lamar to come back on that one if he wants to let us know. Send a right reply. So in Tailor Made Freestyle, Drake uses an AI version of Tupac, who is he is Kendrick Lamar's idol. He's from Compton, so is Kendrick Lamar.
So back in 1990.
Yeah, let's go even further back. So Kendrick Lamar is born. He also uses Snoop Dogg on the track as well.
AI or
an AI version of Snoop
AI?
Dogg.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's alive?
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you do that?
Exactly. I think this all ties into why
Some
people
would say
don't
that
like Drake
Tupac has as
generally.
well.
Is that he
Tupac's alive as well.
Some say
Well, he's
that.
living in Cuba? Yeah, of course.
True.
Yeah,
With Hitler.
yeah.
With
Hitler. Who else? Elvis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney.
The old Paul McCartney.
Paul
of course.
McCartney.
And Captain
Old Avril
Tom.
Lavigne.
He's really raising money for the Cuban healthcare system.
Yeah, Tupac just keeps shouting at him like, "Sit down! Stop fucking walking around! You're making me dizzy."
So on Taylor Made Freestyle, Drake makes fun of Kendrick for being on Taylor Swift tracks, for having he says that the reason why Kendrick hasn't replied up until this point is because he's busy with the legal team of Taylor Swift as to whether or not he should reply. And then he also says that he issues a warning to Kendrick Lamar. It says the next track that comes out is going to show just how much of a coward you are.
Does Drake say that?
Drake says that.
It's interesting because Drake and Taylor Swift both make music for white women.
Indeed.
That's part of what
Yeah,
Kendrick's point.
well, he did say big up Taylor Swift at the end as well. So
Drake said that.
Yeah. So
After
there's no
making fun
disrespect
of
to Taylor
him for
Swift.
being on
No,
tracks
just-
with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, well, this
he
is
then
it,
said,
isn't it? Yeah.
but big up Taylor Swift. Right.
Uh-huh. Interestingly enough about that one as well is that Tupac's estate issued a cease and desist order shortly
No,
after
they
it
didn't.
was released.
Really? Are you joking?
Wait, because he used Tupac's likeness without asking for permission.
Don't you find that so mad how the estates always get up in arms about going after likeness and stuff? It was like when Marvin Gaye's estate went after someone.
Ed Sheeran, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for copying that song.
Did they win that?
No, they did not win that.
Didn't they?
No.
That's
But
a
it's
shame.
sort of like, if the artist themselves is going after it, I'm a bit more I'm like, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you feel
Tupac
like,
to
but the estate.
write in from Cuba.
No, but the estate, that's so greedy, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like, shut up, you've got your millions.
That's
shut
true.
up.
But I mean, all of these tracks are getting millions upon millions of views. And
Yeah, but
millions
as we
upon
know on
millions of
YouTube, that
streams.
doesn't exactly translate to millions and millions
Yeah,
of
that's
pounds,
true.
does it?
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, Spotify as well. Spotify barely pays.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So they might have
Yeah,
got
yeah.
20 grand out of like
2 pence.
So it takes Kendrick Lamar 19th of April up until the 30th of April. A little bit over a week.
And that's how long we've been talking about this.
He replies with Euphoria, which is, of course, a play on the HBO show Euphoria that Drake is the... I said Jake.
You do keep saying Jake.
Drake's not in Euphoria.
He
He
produced
exec
it.
produced it.
Did he?
Yeah.
All of the why have I forgotten his name? Who did the Euphoria soundtrack?
Oh,
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Well, all of the Labyrinth stuff. He produced that
No,
No,
no, they
of the
produced
show.
on the TV show.
of the TV
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
but not the soundtrack.
No, I think it was just
No.
straight
Because
Labyrinth.
the soundtrack really made the TV show.
I've never seen it.
Really?
No.
You know...
You'd love it. Lots
the
of
since
big breasts.
deceased...
Oh, why didn't you say so?
The since deceased Angus Cloud, who played... I can't remember his character's name.
Yeah, but I can picture him. He's kind
Yeah.
of like the he's like the Mac adjacent character, isn't he? Mac Miller adjacent
Yeah,
character.
looks very
exactly.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his surname is Hickey. And if I was to show you right now a picture of my godfather, you would say... that guy is related to Sean.
You know what's
So-
really funny? That one little sentence you did right there, you reminded me so much of the Grandad and Derry Girls.
That's all I've been thinking. He's just, this entire thing. He's just
what?
in Derry Girls. You know the uncle who goes to prison or is like arrested. Is like,
that's the way it was.
and Liam Mason takes it's like you have to just take him. You've just been sitting
So
going,
I said,
"So
Angela?
back in the thing about Drake. You haven't
And
even
so-
got to the headline of this section is he called him a pedo and you're fucking a
But we needed the backstory to
I've
understand
done the
why.
backstory.
We
There
did-
might be someone listening or watching that has no idea what happened over the weekend. They might have had a good bank holiday where they weren't online. Like, So we're just providing a public service to that.
And there's also
you might
been,
know. That's
there's been
fine,
some
but-
discussion as well. You
Yeah.
haven't taken part in the discussion. You've just sat there like some petulant child trying to hypnotise my breasts.
Hey, if I tried that, it would have worked. I've been trying to Sean.
So back now to October 2023.
October, of course, is a Drake thing. October's very own. So Drake lives in Toronto.
So anyway, I quite like to get on with this for a while now.
I'd like to make some progress. That was a Commons reference.
So I got that. Very good. So it's his first response after Drake is badgering him for a while. And so on where Drake is warning Kendrick that his next song is going to make a coward out of him, Kendrick is then threatening Drake with the exact same kind of thing. So he's saying that there are folk within Drake's inner circle that are feeding him information about Drake.
It's the most paranoid.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah. But also, is it this one? No, it's not. It's the next one. But yeah, no, in this song, he's basically just letting Drake know that he has a lot of dirt on him, so he would warn him to not go any further. He then, in response to Drake ragging on him for being a good friend of Taylor Swift's, he has Jack Antonoff produce his next diss track, which is released on not the same day, the week after, which includes a photograph of some of Drake's clothes on his bed in his house. It's like it's still a threat to Drake, basically letting him know this is
like
proof that I have people on the
it's
inside.
like craze
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the 70s.
Yeah.
60s, yeah.
And so it's here that then he says, everyone inside your team thinks that you deserve the ragging that I'm doing on you right now. Everyone hates you, like that kind of carry on. It's actually quite childish when you think of it.
Yeah.
At this point, it's all quite childish carry on. So then Drake comes back, Family Matters, and that's when he claims that Kendrick Lamar has been beating up his wife, that one of his children is not his own child. It's actually the child of Dave Free, who is the co-founder of Kendrick Lamar's record label, PG Lang. And so that's the big dirt that Drake has been sitting on this whole time. And then Kendrick Lamar turns around and goes, "Whoa,
Hey, buddy.
I've got something for you." On the very same day. Actually, it's 616 in LA, which is the Jack Antonoff one, 3rd of May. Drake's response, domestic abuse allegations, 3rd of May. About a half hour after Drake's response, Kendrick Lamar comes out with Meet the Grahams, which is formatted as like personal letters to all of Drake's family. Starts with Drake's son, Adonis, basically says that his dad's a deadbeat. He'd be better to be a male role model to Adonis than Drake would. To Drake's father, he basically says that he needs to milk Drake for all he's worth, because that's all he's been using him
Milk
for.
him.
For like his money. Not for
Like
his
Nunu.
And where is Jordan Peterson during all of this? Yeah, like Nunu.
But he also makes plain the existence, makes plain. He says that Drake has an 11-year-old daughter that he doesn't see, which Drake didn't really appreciate. He went on his Instagram story and said she doesn't exist, even though there's been like dribs and drabs of evidence over the last 11 years.
Still
that
they're
he
reading
might
it like,
have-
hey.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's all quite damning. And then this is also the artwork on this track is, I mentioned in the one previously that it was just a glove on a bed. It's a zoomed out shot of that glove that also contains some prescription drugs that Drake has and a couple of prescriptions. So still keeping in this idea of, I have people on the inside, I know what you're at.
That's a real
Yada,
threat,
yada.
that.
Yeah. Nothing yet about, right, okay. So it comes to the next day where Kendrick Lamar releases Not Like Us, where certified lover boy, certified pedophile is in it.
Also says, say Drake, I hear you like him young.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an insane thing to rap.
Which Drake denies.
Yes, he does. Of course he does.
Team Drake over here.
Yeah.
Team anyone.
Chill out.
Sorry, Team Law.
Hey.
So yeah, Drake said the exact thing yesterday when he released The Heart Part 6, which is a play on Kendrick Lamar's song The Heart Part 5 from his last album, where he spends 6 minutes saying, "I'm not a pedophile." And
Drake
Also-
released saying
yeah,
that.
yesterday, yeah.
It's a lot of questions being asked about my
I'm not a pedophile
song.
sign.
Yeah.
And then he also doubles down on the same thing that he said in the previous track of you beat your wife and Dave Free has a child with your wife and you don't talk to her or the child anymore. But also, I talked about Metro Boomin about a half hour ago. Metro Boomin also got in on it recently. So yesterday, Metro Boomin, sorry, not yesterday, on Saturday, over the weekend anyway, he released a diss track in response to Drake's initial diss track a month and a half ago. That's just titled BBL Drizzy. And it's just a drum track with someone singing BBL Drizzy over it. He has since made a competition about it to invite people to rap and sample the track. And whoever does the best sampling of that track will then get a track produced by Metro Boomin
Holy shit.
at the end of it. Yeah.
So you're crowdsourcing disses?
Yeah. Yeah.
God,
Everyone's coming in on Drake.
that'd be insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so this all started because
J. Cole said that himself, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar are the best rappers.
well, J. Cole is the fool, isn't he?
Well, arguably Drake's the fool because it all kind of died down after J. Cole apologized. Nobody had said anything about it.
And now everyone thinks he's got a BBL.
But I guess it's sort of like you could say their tanks are still on your lawn, his lawn, because
J. Cole's lawn.
yeah, well, you could say that
fair to say.
J. Cole, Kendrick's tanks were on Drake's lawn, I
Yeah.
would say, and
very firmly on his lawn at this point.
fair.
well, they are
Yeah.
now, but I would say that they were still there.
It's fair to say that Drake's disses have been going down like a damp squib
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to an MP mentioning this at PMQs tomorrow.
yeah.
You're going to get like young, cool Lib Dem being like Layla Moran mentioning certified.
I could see that. Yeah.
Lover
What?
boys.
That exact line.
You're a certified
pedophile.
I've got parliamentary privilege. And then I have a letter from my constituent Kendrick.
It will be like that moment where Philip Schofield tried to hand David Cameron that
Oh
list.
yeah, that was insane. Well, I've got a list of certified paedophiles.
And David's like, put the
Certified lover boy, certified paedophile is an insane thing to say.
Uh-huh. Very, very strong words from Kendrick Lamar.
Like, what can we look forward to? Doing this is it as your
Well,
showbiz expert.
no, I'm sure the ball's in Kendrick Lamar's court again now. Although, to be fair,
why would the ball be in Kendrick's court?
'Cause he's
well,
kept-
the
'cause he's kept
tradition,
it.
yeah.
He's kept no, but
What?
the ball surely is in Drake's. Drake needs to.
Clap back.
Well, he has clapped back. Yesterday, he said that he isn't a paedophile.
I think the ball's still in his
I
court. I don't know. I think Drake still has to go. He gets to go again.
Yeah, I think he gets. To
Ignore
go
that
there.
last one.
Yeah.
Do you think Kendrick maybe needs to apologise?
Oh, I think he's going to triple down, quadruple down.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, Drake does like, oh, you're 5'5". He's like, oh, your
Is
friends will
is
like
Kendrick
you.
Lamar is 5'5"?
I think he's got a small man.
Yeah, I think he's a short king.
Oh.
Sadiq height. Imagine Kendrick Lamar with a big pair of cans. Can you imagine?
I know I have.
Thank you, Sean, for that.
I wonder why he went after Taylor Swift. I wonder why Jack Antonoff decided to produce that track. That's got to be coordinated,
It's
hasn't
good.
it?
It's fun, I guess. It'd be quite a bit of a laugh to do this.
That's got to be coordinated. That's an affront.
Should
isn't
we
it, all
do?
that?
Or should we start a rap beef with somebody?
Who?
The Guardian. Like if the Today in Focus team want to get tomorrow's episode, it's just a like devastating takedown.
I think
A Jack Antonoff produced 10-minute takedown of us.
I could imagine the NS
Yeah.
clapping back.
Let
I
us know
can
who you
imagine
want
them
to-
getting involved.
Let us know who you want us to beef with. And
Okay,
also we're open
should
to
we
ghostwriters.
put out Should we put out one right now?
What, call out?
Yeah, should we do
Who are
it?
you calling out?
Freddie Hayward of the New Statesman podcast. My tanks are on your lawn.
Absolutely. Your articles are badly written.
That's really mean. Why would you say that?
Beef.
I don't know.
You need to start with something
I just
strong.
don't- I-
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just giving the pre-warning.
Oh,
Ah,
shit. I'm gonna roll my comments back.
The tank is coming off the lawn. Freddie.
Okay, let's not name anyone. Let's just do it again. We'll just go. Okay, right. This is our official call out to. Should we do the New Statesman? Who
Yeah,
else?
bastards.
Who else could we go for? Who would reply?
I don't think anyone would reply to me.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would.
Like not the Andrew Marr show or whatever that thing's called.
Do we
The
think?
Workers' Party of Great Britain.
Do we think that? Well, I guess we already have parked our tanks on your dad's lawn.
Yeah, the new European.
Ooh, that'd be
We're calling
good.
it
The rest
the
is
new
politics.
European. Oh yeah, sure. Actually.
Mm.
Why,
They'd
did I,
probably
why
do
did
it.
I think of the new European before the rest of politics?
Well, he's your dad. You know where he works. Like,
Sure, actually, he's not my dad. I think people get confused sometimes. He's my stepdad. Shall we, on that bombshell of calling out all the wider
Zaddy.
British media, should we leave it there?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean, for your
no,
expertise.
thank you. Thank
The
you.
history of it's like listening to Rap Genius. That. Eva Santiago, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks. And if anyone's interested, who's on one of the Westminster adjacent podcasts and would like to enter into a,
Some sort of beef,
yeah, well, let me know.
like an arm wrestling competition.
Yeah, I'd like it to be the NS.
Yes.
But I'm open to suggestions.
We could fight them rather than just.
There's more of them, I think.
Hang on, can we just get
How
up?
many of them are there?
Can we just get up this for a second? Because I think we must be missing a big one that we know will fight us.
In the meantime, remember to like and subscribe to the PoliticsJOE YouTube channel and rate us, review
Would
us wherever you
Guido
get your
fight
podcasts.
us?
There's tons of them.
Are
Do
there
what?
tons of them as well?
Of what?
Guido.
I think
Yeah, there's
Guido.
loads of them.
I think that also becomes an ideological thing, which I wouldn't want.
Well, it's a little bit more spicy then, isn't it? Much like the. Kendrick
None
and
of these would
Drake,
be
it has
that
to be
interesting for
What about,
doing
like,
a.
if we'd beef with like off menu or something?
Yeah, maybe for the many, Ian Dale, maybe you would like to enter into some sort of rap battle.
Yep.
Slow news? No, Tortoise wouldn't be interested in that,
No.
would they?
No, they won't.
No, not that. Absolutely not.
I could imagine Paper Cuts would do it.
Miranda, your Eva's tanks are outside.
Yeah.
Beep beep.
Look
That's the
out.
noise a tank makes.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.